Hello and welcome to the video tutorial on graphics editing using the Paint.net program. As you'll see, we're starting out in the desktop mode, and we're going to look at this file called graphics editing. It has been saved on our desktop just to allow all of our files to be nice and easy to get to. So we're going to open up the window called graphics editing, look into the folder example, and we'll find our starting image, which is called ORIG. We're going to select that image, and we are going to right click on that image to make sure that we open it with the right program. We go down to Open With and go to Paint.net. And after a moment, you'll see that it loads up our Paint.net program. Let me get this to the right screen size here. You will see that in the bottom right hand corner it is set at 40%. So we're looking at this at 40% of its size so that it can fit on the screen. But at 40% you can't really make out any of the details of any of these little individual pictures here for Mario. So we're going to zoom in on our Mario sprite sheet here. This will allow us to actually see and work with the pieces of this image that we're going to need. We're going to scroll up to the top using our scroll bars, which you should be familiar with. And we're going to scroll over to the left a little bit so that we can see this very top row of Mario sprites. Then we're going to use our tool palette, which is the tools over here. It may have disappeared if you hit this red X. The tool palette will go away, and then you will need to go up to View. Tool palette. You can click right here for tools, or you can click the F5 key, and it'll bring your tool palette right back up. So the first tool that we are going to use is called the Rectangle Select tool. That is right here. Looks like a square. And we're going to select around the outside of one of our Marios by clicking and dragging and then letting go of the button. This will give us a selection area. So this is the area outside of Mario, which means that the computer will now only edit things inside that area. For instance, if I were to take this pen tool and I was to try and draw out here by clicking and drawing, it wouldn't work. But if I was to draw, for instance, inside this Mario, in that selected area, now I can draw over Mario. I'm just showing you that as an example. I'm going to hit Control-Z to get rid of all that pencil markings. But now that we have selected an area using our rectangle select key, or we can use the shortcut key S, we're now going to use the Move Selection tool to make our box the correct size. So we're going to use the Move Selection tool, and what this does is this opens up these little anchor points. That's these 8 dots that go around the outside of Mario. You can grab from the corners, which would move both of the sides equally, or in this case we're going to want to grab from the centers and make sure that all of our edges touch the pixels on the edge of Mario. If you find this to be particularly difficult to do, you can also zoom in more to get a better look at Mario and where these pixels are to make sure that it's touching. I would suggest about 800%. Makes it nice and big and real easy to work with. You can also use this tool up at the top called Grid Lines, and if you click on that, you'll actually see the pixels. Each pixel is given a square, and that allows you to be really precise with how you're moving it. So you'll see now the selection tool goes on only the edges of this Mario. But we're going to see down here on the bottom, we get some information about what we're doing in Paint.net. And it says that our selections top left is at 255-8, which means that it's 255 pixels to the right and about 8 pixels down from the upper left corner. It's also going to tell us the size of our rectangle. Our rectangle is 14 by 16, which means it has an area of 224 pixels. And it tells you a few things about the overall points. For instance, the whole size of the document is 870 pixels by 1139, and the cross section is 228 by 53. So we're going to go up to resize our image, because an image that is 14 by 16 pixels is very, very small, and it will be difficult to see when programming in Scratch. So we're going to go to resize, and we're going to see this menu here that'll give us an absolute size of the area that we're resizing. What you're going to see though is it says width 870, height 1139. That's obviously not our selected area, so we're going to want to close out on that. Make sure we go back to our selection by clicking on it, then go to image, crop to selection. Okay, so we could use this crop tool. You'll also find the crop tool is right here, because we only want to have the Mario character that we're working with resized. We don't want to resize the whole sheet. So we're going to go to crop to selection. That's going to get rid of everything else except for our Mario character. Then we are going to resize our Mario. What you're going to notice though is it's 14 by 16, and that's not quite the right size. We need it to be 16 by 16 so that when we superimpose these different images on top of each other, they're not off-center, and they're not going to show up strange on Scratch programming. So we're going to actually cancel that, and I'm going to show you as well what happens after we have cropped out our selection and resized. What we can do is we can always hold the Control key down and press the Z key, and it'll take us back to the last step that we were at, which will actually show our bounding box around our Mario. But this Mario is not quite the right size. It's not the biggest Mario that we can have. And we can see this when we use our Move Selection tool. And if we don't grab one of these bounding edges, and we grab somewhere inside of the box, you'll see this little compass looking north, south, east, west X with arrows on it. When we click on the box, this actually allows us to move our bounding box without changing its size. So if we move our bounding box over to, let's say, this walking Mario right here, we'll notice that it no longer covers the entire Mario character. These two little pixels right here are kind of sticking out on the edge. So if we were to move it over here, we'd need to go, oh well, it needs to be just 1 pixel wider. Let's see, as we move this down the row, if we can find something a little wider even than that. This one's not quite wide enough, and then we get into the jumping Mario. Now here is our perfect square, our 16 by 16. Again, we can check down at the bottom here to see that this is 16 by 16. So this is going to be our biggest Mario character, so we're going to use our crop tool. And now we're going to look at image resizing. This is a relatively quick thing to do. We go up to image, go to resize, and we're going to want to double the size of this. We want to make it twice as big. But we don't want to lose any resolution. We don't want the colors to kind of fade. So we're going to put this at kind of a extremely high resolution of 1000 pixels per inch, and we're going to double the size. We want it to be twice as big. So we can do it one of two ways. We can change this to a 32, and you notice that with this maintain aspect ratio clicked, both of them will change to 32. Or we can simply go to percentage. But for now, we're just going to go to 32 wide and hit OK. This will allow us to have a 32 by 32 pixels version of Mario, and then the next video in this series will discuss saving and organizing your files. But for now, this is all that we needed to do with the actual graphics editing portion of our Scratch program. Thanks for watching.